Are you sick of using Windows and its recall functionalities, etc., and you actually care about your privacy? And you have no longer any motivations to get fucked over by Microsoft? Use Linux. In this video, I will introduce you to Zorin OS. Let's go. And of course, I mean, the transition away from Microsoft Windows is, scary for many of you. Because, it's the only experience you have collected over many, many years. And, there's this own workflow you have come to know. And, you're scared, more or less. Now, then I might introduce you to Zorin OS. Zorin OS is especially made for former Windows users. It's, in the interface, its usability, etc., and its functionalities. It's really inviting. Now, in the first part, I'm going to talk about, the basic installation process, what you can do, etc. Then in the next part, I will give you a showcase on the rundown over basic functionalities, most of which are completely the same, like how they would be in Windows. And then I will show you some extra steps, because this channel is specifically made for music production. So I will give you some setups, some installations, paths to install Yabridge, pipewire, etc., which might interest someone. First things first, Zorin OS is based on Ubuntu. Why do I say this? Because first of all, if you're having problems with the operating system, a program won't load, etc., and you go in the internet and say Zorin OS program A doesn't work, error message, blah blah blah, and you cannot find a solution, then you can just easily replace Zorin OS with Ubuntu. Because if a fix is working for Ubuntu, most likely it will also work for Zorin OS. Just for you to know. Now, we are in the first boot menu, the welcome screen. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, the language we want to have, and then you can try it out from the USB stick, but we are going to install it. Now, the keyboard layout language, and you can even search here. So, download updates, this is something I would recommend to enable. Install third-party software for graphics, yes, we also want this enabled. If you want to enable or leave it disabled, the third one is completely your choice. So let's continue. Now, you can choose the installation type. Erase disk, install Zorin OS, or you have other options. Let's go at first to advanced features. Now here you can either choose in advanced features none, use LVM with the new Zorin OS installation, which means dynamic partitions, which is not something we really need to worry about now. And then erase disk and use ZFS. ZFS being data storage type. We are going to leave it at none. And then go to install now. Here you can listen. Here you can read to what's going to happen here. Yeah, time zone. Let's continue. Then your name. Machine name. Choose password. Retype it. So, your name, which is Steve in my case, is your username. So if you are going to later on, for example, add yourself into user groups, I will explain it later on what that means. But yeah, the username and the name of the machine. In certain cases, these names will be necessary for you to know, but you can always find them out really easy. So just that you know it. So, after everything is done, you can reboot the system. Select the user, enter password, and voila, we are inside. Yeah, I mean, start tour. I mean, why not? Okay, yeah, I mean, as you can see, the layout is exactly like, yeah, it would look like in Windows. Or you press the Windows Home key. But let's talk about it later. Launch Zorin appearance, why not? For example. Because now we have a more GNOME-like interface. I mean, by pressing the Windows Home key, and there here you can select your apps there. I personally prefer this kind of interface, which is more similar to Windows, but you have all the freedom. Now let's make it dark. As you can see, the background is already at night now. Do you want them more green, orange? Let's make it green. Effects, how the interface behaves, etc. So a desktop icon size, standard, large, tiny. So there are lots of things to play around with, but no, let's move on. Now I'm making the showcase on a virtual machine, so of course it automatically detects that I'm working on a virtual machine and asks me to install Guest Edition, which I'm going to do. So now next, you can connect online accounts. Maybe we can also show this later on, your Google account, Microsoft account, so if you want to do this, you can do this, but let's move on. You can connect your phones, similar to KDE Connect, but let's not get lost here. So, Zorin Connect next. And here you can say, you can install the app on your phone so you can connect with this app, but let's stay on Zorin OS and launch software. Software, this is the App Store. I'm going to make a proper showcase later on, but yeah, let's move on. We can visit the help page if you're stumbling on certain errors, certain bugs, etc. Activate NVIDIA graphic cards, etc. So, system requirements. So all the first steps, switch your organization from Windows, for example. So all the first steps, what you need to do, take your time and read through all of them. So let's close it. And now a pop-up menu shows updated software has been issued since Zorin OS 17 was released. Do you want to install it now? You can, click it away. Let's install it now. So now you can select, restart later, restart now. We are going to restart it now. As you can see in the graphical interface, it looks pretty much the same as it looks in Windows, and that's on purpose. The settings are the same, the options are the same, you have an app store, you have, text editor, etc. So there's no real difference. Let's log back in. Now, before we are going to make any changes here, let's just admire the interface. Okay, let's move on. And I mean, of course you can see, you know, pretty similar to how it would look in Windows, and that's with intention. So bottom left is the home screen, or the home button, basically. Just, you know, you can go to the desktop directive. We are exiting it via files, which is basically the Windows Explorer on Linux. So the interface is pretty the same. You have the trash bin, videos, pictures, music downloads, documents, home, etc. Now, so other locations, computer. Now we are with the directive with bin, boot, cd-rom, dev, etc. This is the root directive. It's not really that important for you now. I just want you to have seen it at least once. So now here you can see there's a menu popping up. When you press the Windows Home key, this also happens. Why is this the case? Because, for example, let's open different apps. And here you have a really easy time switching between these two. Let's, for example, open some more. LibreOffice is already pre-installed, really nice. And now you can choose between all of them. And on here, you can close them. Pretty easy. Now, let's go on to the settings. You have accessories. You can press back. Office sound. So Office programs, you know, which is, you know, Microsoft Word alternative. Then, you know, PowerPoint alternative, etc. Sound and video, some pre-installed packages for you. Graphic, LibreOffice Draw. You can organize photos here. So, you know, it comes with lots of pre-installed packages for you. But now the first thing one might want to do is go into the settings, and let's check the settings out. And here you can, bottom left, settings, voila. Network, this is where you connect yourself to the internet. I mean, most likely you would have done this in the first place in order to download the updates during the installation process. But now you come to Bluetooth, background, and here you can choose, you know, do you want a different background? I prefer something, you know, a bit darker. Notifications, yeah, do not disturb if you absolutely do not want to disturb. And you can make the choice which apps have the permission to give me notification. The control which search results are shown in the activities overview in order of search results can also be changed by moving row in the list. So, you know, if you're searching for a contact, for example, or an image file, etc., you know where these packages can be searched in. Multitasking. Yeah, multitasking, you can make some further adjustments for your hot corner. Touch the top left corner to open the activities overview. Drag windows against the top left screen to resize them. So you can play around with them and, you know, figure out what kind of workflow you prefer. Then workspaces automatically removes empty workspaces, multi-monitor or fixed number of workspaces. This is important. You know, as I've said, workspaces on all displays. Let's open Media up. And here you can see different workspaces are being shown on one desktop. What you can do is, now on primary desktop is what we have just done. I mean, I'm working on a virtual machine, so I only have one desktop. But if you want to have the accessibility of all the opened workspaces on all desktops, all displays, you can enable this one. Application switching, include application from all workspaces. I mean, don't stress yourself, just click around here and, you know, see what happens. I don't, you know, when you're switching away from Microsoft, this is, you know, some fun optional settings you can change. You don't have to fiddle around here at all. So if you just want to work in an operating system which is not Windows, and you also do not want to fiddle around here, then just ignore these. Now you have applications, system features, view space, application, notifications, integration. So, you know, you can default handlers, links. You know, you can change how certain apps behave on your operating system. Privacy. This is connectivity. Connectivity checking is used to detect connection issues and helps you stay online. If your network has been monitored, it could be gathered technical information about this computer. Then, you know, do you want to enable this or disable this? Just, yeah, click for there. So, online accounts. Yeah, as previously during the installation process, you can connect your Microsoft account, your Google account here, if this is something you want to do. The computer name is machine. Then how sound behaves. Power mode, you know, do you want balance? Do you want, you know, power save? If you're working on a laptop, for example. So then, you know, screen blank. After 5 minutes of inactivity, the screen turns black. Never or change the minutes. So never, it means, you know, obviously that you completely disable this function. You know, display setting, the resolution of the display, the refresh rate, the scale, for example, fractional scaling. Cube changes. So do you want, you know, 100%, double its size, or something in between? Now the mouse settings. Mouse acceleration, do you want to enable this? Mouse speed. I'm completely happy right now, but since I'm working in a virtual machine, but you know, primary button, to the left or right, so it's really easy to change that. Keyboard setting, you know, what do you want to install? Different languages. It's the same source for all Windows. Import source switching. Yeah, fiddle around with these printers if you have any. Removable media. CD, now what kind of behavior should this operating show to you if you want to play audio from a DVD, from a CD, from a music player? Open folder. So you can update the color profile, and of course I'm working on a virtual machine. I mean, all of these steps, you know, I'm just giving you a short overview of them first before we move on to the fun part. Regional language, can change that. Accessibility, high contrast, for example. Oh god, no. So, now I've accidentally switched to the light mode in order to turn it back to the dark mode. Open, bottom left, Zorin appearance. theme, Zorin, and then much better. So accessibility, so yeah, color blindness, etc. The users, when we have already made one, of course, but you can add multiple ones. Default application, so if you open a link, with which browser should it open, with which mail application, etc. Date and time. So if you have internet connection, automatic date and time selection. And some extra info to you. Of course, I'm working on a virtual machine, but you know, here you have the information about your operating system, etc. So now here you can software updates. Click on there, and it's going checking for updates. It's up to date because we have made previously the update, but just that you have an easy way of updating your software. Upgrade Zorin OS. So you can, you know, switch to Zorin OS Pro, the paid version, but yeah, just that you have seen it at least. So now let's go back to the desktop. Here you can for bottom right. Now we've clicked through the system settings. Let's go to the bottom right. You can open the calendar. You can add events. Alarms, add an alarm, stop, timer. So, yeah, really cool stuff. Here, for example, you click here, and you can restart the system, power off the system, whichever you want. Here, we have access to the, it's the VirtualBox guest packages, but if you have external drives, for example, here you have access to them. And let's go to Open Files. And here we are. Now, as we have just mentioned earlier, different workspaces, if there are any open. So now let's go to Zorin Appearance. I've overflown this part a bit. There's some different desktop layouts, for example, if you are. Now let's stay here on this first option, which is more Windows-like. But you can change it. And then experiment around and see what works for you. So there's everything for everyone here. Now you can theme, of course, I've earlier entered the dark mode, added some colors. So here you can fill around and experiment around. Of course, you also have the option to activate jelly mode, which does this. Let's enable this too. Desktop queue, switch between workspaces in 3D, and spatial window switcher replaces Alt Tab and Super Tab with a 3D window switcher. So when you do this, you have, you can select your apps via this. So you can disable it again if you prefer the old version. Yeah, but let's disable the jelly. It makes me crazy already. So now. As you can see, there are lots more kinds of customizations than you would have in Windows. But let's get into the interesting stuff. But before we move on, let's do change the scaling. Display. Voila, now it looks a bit better. Another fear most of you will be having is that you need to use with the terminal. Because, you know, you need to command terminal commands to download a package, etc. And that might put many people off. That is not the case here, because it has a pre-installed app store, with which you can install apps via a graphical user interface, just like you would in Windows. Now let's move on. When you hover your mouse over here, we come to a linked software app. Let's open it. This is the App Store basically for you. Now go to search, open Steam. And here I can install Steam. Let's do that. Here's some information, but then if you're interested in gaming, let's also install Heroic Launcher. With Heroic Launcher you can install GOG and Epic Store games. Heroic Games Launcher. So, log in to whatever you want to do. Now, for example, RPC is free, and here you can see we are installing Flatpaks. Then we are also going to work with Flatpaks. And Flatpaks, when you're downloading some packages, you have the choice between Zorin OS native programs and Flatpaks. What are Flatpaks? Flatpaks are containerized apps, you know, which are running on each distribution, Linux distribution the same. I'm going to make a specific video about this one, and all of you, what you need to know is that, you know, Flatpaks are its own thing, but they work just the same. Of course, I'm oversimplifying here. I don't want to bombard you here with all the information, just that you know it. Then I go to create and see what can be installed here. You can install Krita, for example, which is a drawing program. Etc. So, most likely, if you want to install a program, an app, for example OBS, you can install it right here. So, to learn GNU Octave, for example, if you know a higher level of mathematics, for example. But yeah, this is the first stop for you to install all the programs you want to install. Then of course I will show you, some basic terminal commands for you to use, how do you work with it, how do you manage it, etc. And I'm going to make another video because, of course the sudo apt install, etc. These are commands are specific to Ubuntu and its derivatives, which Zorin OS is. But of course, some terminal commands, they are universal, of which I'm going to make another video. Terminal. Pin to dash. And open it. Now, we are going to use this later on. So now you have it easy available to you. So now you know where you can install native apps and also Flatpak versions of said apps. Then, for example, if you want to install an email client, Thunderbird, is really good. So basically, so now go to the Play to install game emulation, Steam, Heroic Launcher, etc. Learn programming, everything, you know, Anki for example, really helpful. But yeah. So this is basically how you primarily orient yourself around, you know, here. So this is basically how you orient yourself around in Zorin OS. Now, of course, if this would be, you know, the average Linux distro OS review, this would be the end of the video. But I'm going to show you some extra steps. First of all, Zorin OS is based on Ubuntu, and there are some mechanics you should know to better work with it. Then we are also going to install Wine. We're going to install, you know, certain packages for audio production, which is a central focus of this channel. Now let's open the terminal. Right here. This might be frightening to you, but I'm just going to explain you some steps, some functions, you know, for you to know. Now we are going to install a package via the terminal. Just press in apt install and C-lang, for example. You know, the C language for programming. It doesn't really matter. So, now you have this information. Could not open log file, etc. Permission denied. Unable to create, are you root? So there are two error messages for me. First thing says permission is denied, and the other asks me if I'm root. If you ever have a warning message in which, you know, your terminal says you do not have access to this command, you don't have permissions or not the needed allowance, then you have most likely forgotten the sudo command. And we are going to do this. Sudo apt install C-lang. Password. Then press yes. And as you can see, it's entering the Ubuntu repositories because Zorin OS is based on Ubuntu. So if you stumble across some issues, some problems, some bugs, for example, and you try to look up the internet for your Zorin OS, I don't know, program A doesn't work, and there are not many search results, then of course, since Zorin OS is not as well known and it doesn't has as many users as classic Ubuntu, just type in Ubuntu program A error message. And then, so if it's a problem that which is has a solution for Ubuntu, the same works for Zorin OS. Now, in the description you will find all the commands, so you just need to copy paste them in for you to know. Now, let's install another program. Sudo apt install darktable, which is a program for managing pictures, photos you have made with a camera. Yes. Oh, no, wrong. Yes. So, now if you go here, and then the darktable has been installed. Now, where was darktable installed to? In which directive? I mean, now with a program, for example, this is not really important, but if you install some certain files and you need to access them by a third-party app, how do you do this? You type in which darktable, and now you have a directive user bin darktable. Let's go to Files, Other Locations, Computer, and here User, bin, and somewhere here is darktable, so I'm not going. I mean, you could search it here, but just that you know how to access it. You can also, this is how you work with it. And now, for example, you want to uninstall it. You know, you don't longer want it on your system. You sudo apt remove darktable. And the same process. Yeah. Now that we have finished the basic installation part, of course there's some things to know, but just with your App Store, and if you are not really a deep diving computer user and just want, you know, to install a video player, I don't know, install Steam games, for example, etc., then the App Store is more than you will need. But let's talk about extra functionalities. Pipewire we are going to install via Git. I'm going to show this to you, and I'm not going to bother to explain it. I'm just going to show you. It's a bit fiddling around, but yeah, what I need to say with Pipewire and the settings I'm going to show you now, these are not necessary for beginners, just for people who want to do audio production on it. So if you're just an average user, you can click off of this video right now. Now it's uninstalled. Okay, so good, so fine. Now we are going to, as I previously, we're gonna optimize it for audio production. And first of all, we are going to install Reaper. Sudo apt install Reaper. So now we know how to install, uninstall packages. I mean, now with these it's not really important, but now, since we're gonna make further setups for audio production, this will be necessary. Now, let's open the browser, type in Reaper, download Reaper, Linux version, the green box, open files, downloads, and here we have the Reaper file. Now we have extract here, enter it, enter this one, until we get to install reaper.sh, and here, inside this folder, right click, open in terminal, so now type in ls. This is how you are working inside the terminal to look at all the folders inside the directive you are currently in. What is a directive? Directive is basically the path to a program. What does this mean? Now let me just pvd. This is my directive from home to Steve. So this is the home directive. Then to downloads, for example, this would be, I need to go into this directive for home, downloads, Reaper, Linux, then Linux Reaper again, to come here. This is the directive tree. So, and you can also search where you currently are by pressing pvd. Now, what we're going to do, ls, double click it, copy, and now chmod plus x dot slash / and copy paste it in, and then sudo dot slash and copy it in again, and then press enter. It will ask you for a password. And now we come to the installation phase of Reaper. We are going to press I for installation, Then press 1. To install to the opt directive in apt-reaper. Do you want to to add desktop integration for this install? Yes, we do want this. Do you want to to symlink to use a local blah blah blah? Yes, we do want this. Proceed with installation? Yes. And now you can open Reaper. Pin to dash. And if you open this, so voila, we've installed the Reaper door. So now that we have installed it, we are going to make some further adjustments. Now we're going to install Wine with all its added functionalities, tools, etc. in order to move on. At first we're going to enable the 32-bit architecture. In the description, copy paste them in. So now we have installed Wine staging, etc. And the first thing we are going to do, we press in Wine CFG, Wine configuration. I could not find Wine mono package, install it. So here you can Windows version, Windows 10, the graphics, etc. So all this Wine settings you need. You can now, which Wine version are we working with? Wine version 9.10 staging version. Said earlier, in the description, copy paste it in here. Voila. Now, where was this package installed to? pwd, home Steve. Now I'm already there. And now you can extract here. Yabridge 5. This is the version I've downloaded. Go inside. Go inside here. So now we have installed Yabridge. Of course, we've only installed the Yabridge folder. So let's go in here. And now to set Yabridge up here, it is a bit tricky. First of all, we need to copy these files into two places. So we go into Yabridge, etc. Select all of them, copy, home. Then with Control H we open the hidden folders, the ones that start with dot, and we open the .local folder, open it, then go into share, then we create a new folder. I've already created it with the name Yabridge, and copy paste it in here, and then go back into this folder, open in terminal, we press pvd, so we type in sudo copy -r, copy paste it in here, empty space, /user/lib. So, and now if you type in Yabridge sync, Yabridge CTL sync. Now it works. Yes, I've made a previous showcase in EndeavourOS in which it was way easier than here, but this is how you work with Yabridge. So after all that, installing all, copy pasting all the commands into the terminal, we have installed Reaper, we have installed Reaper, Pipewire, and also Yabridge. Thanks for watching this video. Keep working because there's still much to do. And go read Berserk.